Ladies and gentlemen, 2005 Honda S2000, AP2 generation, and clearly not stock. The owner of this vehicle has modified this with a lot of spoon parts, some HKS, some Mugen as well. Of course, the Volk Te37s, classic, wrapped in RT660 tires. I saw this actually roll up to my local Gears and Grinds last weekend, the Cars and Coffee we have here. And I was like, damn, I would love to drive this thing. And here we are 1 week later. This one's actually for sale. Owner is asking $28,000. And you can find a link to the listing down in the description. In terms of mods, exterior wise and aesthetically, a lot of spoon things like the hood, the fenders, the bumper, and as always, full mod list down in the description. Under the hood, spoon intake, snorkel, radiator hose, air cleaner, radiator stays, oil cap, Mugen headers, HKS high power single exhaust, KTuned coilovers, SPC front and rear ball joints, Eibach front and rear sway bars, Mcleod racing clutch stage 2, ported manifold, 70mm ported throttle body, and a few other things down in the description. Now hopping in, we've got these Recaro buckets, spoon steering wheel, spoon shift knob. Of course, we have this hardtop as well. Seatbelt's kind of hidden back there. There we go. All right, so first impressions, the clutch is very touchy, a very sharp engagement point, so a little bit of a learning curve to be smooth. Oh, these transmissions in the AP2, they're such money, dude. So tight and mechanical, direct. Directly, no, there's no cable linkages, it's a direct connection to the actual transmission, and you feel that, it feels so good. Gotta give the throttle a little bit more of a blip than some of the other S2000s I've driven, and slight learning curve there, but once you get used to it, you can have your smooth downshifts. This is the last year that's cable throttle, not drive-by-wire. You get more torque with the AP2, makes it more usable, and sure, you miss out on 1,000 RPM of redline because you have now that increased stroke, 2.2 liter rather than 2 liter, but man, it's still such a visceral experience. The engine transmission combo on the AP2 is just, it's so money, it's so hard to beat. If you're gonna modify the car, you gotta go AP2. If you're gonna keep it stock, I actually like the AP1 out of the box more than the AP2. I did a stock AP1, stock AP2 comparison up in this video right up here. Oh, the transmission, the engine combo, such money. Now the steering here, I can tell there isn't enough caster because it has this very weak recentering. There's essentially no recentering, and also little feedback. Now normally the S2000 doesn't have much feedback, but when you start modifying, when you start putting your more rigid bushings or spherical bushings, when you start doing coilovers, things like that, you tend to get a little bit more, and the steering is pretty dead. It's I think adding some caster would definitely help. It has that weird stickiness where it kind of just holds whatever input you give it, and it doesn't give you much back. With the hardtop, of course, there's a bit of a trade-off, right? You're not gonna get that top-down experience that we all love with the S2000, and you are gonna get a few more creaks and rattles. But if you're making a track-focused S2000, then that's what I would go with too, personally. Coilovers are actually this pretty shit road decently, not bad at all. It's not terribly uncomfortable. It's definitely a stiffer ride than stock, substantially so. But it's maintaining that beautiful sharpness to the front end. It's actually not just maintaining, it's increasing that beautiful sharpness to the front end. Double wishbone front suspension, front midship engine, nice sharp end, immediate turn in. But again, that steering is kind of coloring that ever so slightly. Ooh, a little bit of a gear grind there. Planted, dude, planted. All right, getting a little bit of rotation. Some other mods that I've really enjoyed in other S2000s, when you upgrade the LSD, one of my favorite setups is actually an OS Geiken 1.5-way LSD, and when you dial that in just right, you can really use the throttle and beautifully rotate and point the car. That's like my gold standard S2000, Eric's track build, which was such a, you know, amazing steering, amazing rotation with the throttle, amazing inputs, amazing brakes. The only thing that some might complain about is that on track you may want a little bit more power, but for the street and canyons, such money. Very planted mid-corner. I do wish the brakes had a little bit more initial bite. Probably change to a more aggressive compound, but once you get in it, you do get a good amount of firmness. And totally fine in terms of modulation. I love S2000s, and I think this example, they've done a lot of good modifications in the right direction. Just a few things to tweak: the brakes here, the LSD, the steering and the suspension alignment. But man, there's a reason I just can't get enough of these S2000s, and a reason why I just gotta keep driving all the examples. I want to taste all the flavors. Now, asking $28,000, this does have a salvage title, so you're going to want to check out what was the actual damage, how was it repaired, any frame damage, check underneath the vehicle, and if you're not an expert yourself, then get someone who does know a thing or two to take a look and weigh in. Yeah, suspension can be a little crashy at times. But I think they really nailed the look of this car. I love the way it looks from the exterior. All the spoon parts, super badass. Brings me back to, you know, early 2000s, playing Gran Turismo 1 through 5. Those were the days. I would always try to get a yellow S2000 in those games. I love those vehicles. Yeah, suspension is getting a little bit crashy when I'm pushing it. Also feeling the chassis move. I mean, the S2000 is not the most rigid chassis out there. Chassis technology has come a long way since this car was released. I am wondering, you know, with whatever damage was done to this vehicle, did it affect the frame? I'm not sure, but feeling a little bit, you know, a bit of that flex as I'm pushing it. And I wonder if that's just, you know, placebo, because I know that it's a salvage title, but overall, still very much an enjoyable car to drive. It's an AP2 S2000, so you're starting at a very good point. Definitely not the most communicative or sharpest or most rigid or taut S2000 that I've driven, but it's still an S2000 AP2 underneath, and it's a very good starting point. With the mods, it's a step in the right direction, but you know, I think a few more tweaks here and there would really elevate the driving experience even more. Yep, finally getting used to the clutch. I say that with a rough shift into second. My friends, let me know what you think of this example of an AP2 S2000 2005 model year, full mod list down below. Also, this car is for sale, so check that out, link below. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. I do reviews in Vegas, the Bay Area, and in Southern California. See you all in the next one.